Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and in this video we're reviewing to the Vampire Diaries Season 5, Episode 7, Death and the Maiden. This episode, I loved it. I loved every moment of this episode. I thought it was a fantastic episode. There's some really big twists that we have here, and some really big, I like that we wrapped up quite a few of the storylines that have been going on. So, yeah, let's just get to this episode because it was a pretty intense one as usual, and I think probably the best episode of the season, and some of the best performances were in here as well. I really like the way they start this episode. It's kind of funny. We see Silas and everything, and he's kind of just talking to this, he's talking to this couple, and it's just two strangers, and he decides, you know, he's there on the bus and everything, and he was kind of creepy at first, but then when he's talking to the couple, they basically think he's insane and everything, but then he ends up killing the two of them because he's just like, yeah, forget about it. So, yeah, I thought, you know, it was creepy, but it was also kind of funny because they basically think he's insane and he's talking about, so I just thought it was kind of funny the way that all worked. I just thought it was. Alright. Biggest thing that we have here, let's first talk about Stefan. Stefan is slowly recovering from Tessa's torture, and is quickly regaining and reprocessing all of his memories. And it's not really exactly a gift, but Elena and Damon, they decide to cut his walk down memory lane short, and they introduce him to Amara. And so they decide to introduce Stefan to Amara and everything. And that's basically what happens. And Silas admits to Damon that he's basically going to back out of their deal, which means Bonnie's not coming back from the other side, and you can see he's very bitter about the Amara situation, and Damon and Leigh are desperately trying to figure out how to make their plan still work, and unfortunately, Stefan is not helpful at all, and you know, he tells them he's not going to bring Bonnie back. Silas needs to die, and I need to be the one to kill him. Someone's clearly still bitter about the quarry, but who could really blame him? And, you know, he's just starting to remember all this stuff, and he doesn't really like remembering all this stuff. You see a lot of chemistry, though, with Elena and Stefan in this scene, which, honestly, I don't mind. I'd like Damon and Elena to stay together for at least this half of the season, and then maybe get Stefan and Elena together. I don't really care who she's with. I like both of them. I just don't like it when you have this love triangle stuff, and it's like them fighting over her. I don't care who she's with. I don't. I really don't. I actually do see chemistry between Stefan and Elena. And, so the big thing here is that, Bonnie starts to find out that she can make, physical contact with, Amara, which is pretty cool. And she basically thinks that once Amara is, she's gonna end up taking Amara's place, which is gonna be pretty cool if that all works. But since, Silas cut his deal short with Damon, Damon goes to talk to, Tessa to try to see if he can possibly get to work with her. And at first she's like, oh no, I don't really understand what's going on here. Also, Silas wants to kill Amara, so their plan might not be working because Silas wants to kill Amara because that's what he feels he needs to do. And basically he tells Tessa that they gotta bring Bonnie back and everything. And I love the part where he's like, I got a girlfriend at home who's sobbing and wants her best friend back, and then I have a brother who's on the verge of suicide. And it's kind of funny the way he's just nonchalantly said it. I just love the way that Damon's just so nonchalant all the time and wacky and goofy, but he's so hilarious though, and that's why Damon's one of our favorite characters by far. I mean, not to mention the fact that he is just so funny. He's also a really great character with some really great development. He's just so funny. He really adds a lot of comic relief to the show, and I love that. But what also happens is that we basically find out that in order for this to happen, she needs to find doppelgangers, which basically means she needs Silas, she needs Amara, she needs Katherine. And Damon's like, whoa, my house is crawling with doppelgangers, so sure, I can help you with that. And they got Amara and everything. Amara's basically, though, on the verge of insanity. She's trying to get over, you know, being alive again and everything. She doesn't really want to be alive. That's my one complaint in this episode. It was very hard to tell Elena from Amara because they look the same. It was hard to tell. But when you saw basically me and her saying that was Amara. for those of you who were confused, because it was a little bit confusing for me, but it wasn't as confusing as it was last episode. But what we see here is that we see that, that basically they get there and, it seems everything's going well, but Silas, ends up, being able to destroy the spell from happening. The spell ends up not working because Silas ends up doing something, and Tessa's pretty upset about this, so they try it again, but at this, time, Silas gets back with Amara, and he talks to her and everything, and he actually does not want to kill her. Honestly, he looks at her and he says, maybe I shouldn't kill you. But she's like, oh, no, kill me and everything. It's what's best for the both of us. But before he can do this, Stefan goes up and he kills him. Stefan goes up and he kills, Silas. So Silas is dead. But then Amara decides to, Silas is now dead. So their plan is slowly not working. Then Amara decides, you know what, maybe I need, and she decides to kill herself as well. So it's like a Romeo and Juliet thing. So, Amara just totally ruined the spell and everything, but it turns out that the spell is actually working. We see Bonnie and Jeremy. Bonnie's she's ready to say goodbye at this point to, Jeremy, which is really sad and everything, and she's ready to say goodbye, but Jeremy can feel her, which means that Bonnie is now alive. She's resurrected, and she's alive, so that's great. I'm very happy that Bonnie is alive, and I like that we kind of wrapped up storylines in this episode, too. I definitely enjoyed that, and, also, we see, though, now that Tessa is dead, Bonnie needs to take her place, because basically in the supernatural world, when someone is dead, the person who's alive needs to step up and take their place, basically. So that should be interesting to see. Then we see that Stefan is basically, he's digging Silas's grave, and as he's doing this, his memories start to come back again, and he just can't get rid of these memories. So it's really not a good thing. He really doesn't want these memories anymore. And, it's better than he was at the Ripper. Some people were a little disappointed that he has memories back, but I think it's actually pretty cool because the way he's handling it is not the way you'd expect him to. He was on the verge of suicide in this episode. He really wanted to kill Silas, though, so basically everybody gets what they want in this episode. Everyone except Katherine, that is. Katherine is sort of just, she's having a very bad season, in my opinion. Like, she's having a bad season in terms of plot. The plot last week was really cool, where she thought she was dying. It turns out that she's actually not dying. Basically, what happens is Dr. Maxfield is talking to her, and he says to her that now that she is human, one of the side effects of her drinking Silas's cure, was that now that she's human, she is, aging, basically. So she's eventually going to die, essentially, and that's what she's really worried about. She doesn't really want to die. So she goes up to Tessa. When Tessa tells her to go through this spell, she says, okay, I will go through this spell on one condition. You have to basically change me back to a vampire and everything. And you see that Caroline is really trying to help her out through this and everything. But at the same time, there's also Nadia, who Catherine has to deal with. Nadia really wants her and Catherine to connect more. And she really wants her and Catherine to just be mother and daughter, a really nice mother and daughter reunion. But Catherine told her, like, I can't go through this right now. And once Tessa dies, this really upsets Catherine because Tessa was the only way that Catherine could become a inhuman again. She could become a vampire, and she's really upset about this. So in the end, when Nadia goes to talk to her, she says, look, I know you want this mother-daughter reunion, but I cannot give it to you. I am slowly dying, and it's not going to work. I'm really sorry, but and I like the way that Catherine was. You know, she was actually very, we saw that Catherine really does want to care for her, but she knows she can't. I really like seeing this more human side of Catherine. I've really been loving seeing that this season, and I think that's been great. So, this plot I absolutely love. I love what they're doing with Catherine on the show, and I really love that. And the only other thing to talk about is that Caroline is still a little bit worried about Jesse. She doesn't know what's going on with Jesse. He's not answering his calls and everything. She's a little bit worried about that. Other than that, though, that was basically the episode. And I gotta say, it was a perfect episode, in my opinion. I thought it was a really great episode. Lots of emotion and intensity in this episode. Death in the Maiden was the perfect title because basically the three people we've been focusing on, Silas, Tessa, and Amara, they're all dead now. They're all dead. And Bonnie is seeing Tessa's ghost. I don't think this is the end we'll see of Tessa. As far as Silas and Amara, they're dead. They're done. So we don't have to see them anymore. Am I a little bit upset at Amara? Not so much, because I didn't really like her character and didn't really know much about her. Silas, I really liked his character. He was funny. He was the perfect villain. He was a funny villain, but he was also very sadistic as well, and I'm going to miss a bit of that. But I guess now that Stefan has his memories back, there's no reason for this to be happening anymore. So I kind of see why they did that, but I really like that they had this episode. Let me know what you guys saw this episode. What do you think is going to happen to Katherine? Do you think she's going to be able to find a way to stop herself from aging? Do you think there's going to be a way to stop that? I really hope they don't end up killing Katherine off. If they kill Katherine off, I will be so upset, because Katherine has been the best part of the season, in my opinion. What do you think of Stefan and Amara and Tessa dying? Were you a little bit upset that they died, or what do you think about that? And also, Stefan getting back his memories. What do you think is going to happen with Stefan? Clearly, he does not want these memories back. It just is too much for him. And I see a lot of chemistry between Stefan and Elena. Do you want them together, or do you want Damon and Elena to stay together? I don't think a lot of people really care anymore. I don't, but I would like either of them together. Honestly, at this point, either of them would be fine for me. But, I would definitely give this episode 10 out of 10. It was a perfect episode. Both the Vampire Diaries and the originals were great this week, and I can't wait for next week's episode because it's going to be fantastic. So, that's it for my review. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay, bye.